Hey there, fellow travelers, Mark here with Wolters World. Today we're exploring the style and flavor of Argentina with a spotlight on Buenos Aires. From tango don'ts to cultural tips, steak and wine musts, and everything you should know before you visit. So here we go with 100-ish hours of Argentina and Buenos Aires. Vamos! This is one of the things you have to check out when you come here to South America. The Iguazu Falls, don't skip out on it, okay? But into town. Yeah, those falls are awesome, okay? So you'll probably see them popping in a few times in the video, just randomly, because oh my god, it is so cool to see the Iguazu Falls. And actually going to see the nature here in Argentina is awesome. And it kind of gets me to think of the first don't I have for when you visit Argentina, is don't think that Argentina is just Buenos Aires. There's so much more than Buenos Aires here in Argentina. And the thing is, there's so much nature to see, because when you come here, when you get out, you're gonna see amazing vistas, amazing views, whether it's coming here to Iguazu and seeing the falls and the park here, which is just unbelievable. Or you're going down to Bariloche to go skiing in the winter, which is the summer in the northern hemisphere, okay? In June and July and August and stuff like that, skiing down there. Or go drinking the wine and seeing the mountains in Mendoza. Or maybe going to Puerto Madryn and you want to go see the whale watching, or going up to Salta and stuff. I mean, there's so much nature that's here that a lot of people forget that Argentina is so much more than Buenos Aires. Now, definitely go to Buenos Aires because the city is awesome. There's amazing districts to see all throughout the town. The neighborhoods, they really are distinct. That's actually my favorite thing. If you watch our loves and hates of Buenos Aires, that's the first thing I love, is that distinctive differences of the neighborhoods in Buenos Aires. But the thing is, don't think Buenos Aires is Argentina, because Argentina is so much more than that, okay? Now, my second don't for you is when you are coming here to Argentina and you are going to visit things, don't expect things to start early, okay? So that means if you want to go to the museums, or you want to go see some sites, you want to go do some things don't start at 8 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning. Things start a little bit later, okay? If you're going to go see the dinosaur bones at the Natural Science Museum in Buenos Aires, it opens at 2. Okay, you want to have lunch? Well, lunch is like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Dinner? Oh yeah, that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 p.m. Totally normal to have dinner. Very much a late night starting thing, so don't think you're going to start anything early. And also, don't get upset if the locals are a little late if you set something up with them, because it's kind of a normal thing to be 20 to 30 minutes late to a social engagement. Now, I'm going to tell you as a tourist, don't be late for your buses, your trains, well, the few trains that you'll have, or the planes you're going to be on, because those things, they aren't late, okay? And with the timing thing, don't forget about the siesta when you are here. Now, it's not all over the country, but there's enough places that you'll see that things will close from about 2 to 4 or 2 to 5 in the afternoon. So if you do have to do some like important shopping, get it done in the morning, so like 10 to 12 or 10 to 1 or something like that, or later in the evening, okay? That's when you're going to be doing more of your shopping, all right? Now, after some more adventures in the park, we're actually here at where we're staying. We're here at Iguazu. And the next don't I have for you is, though I'm kind of hot and I'm looking a little sweaty when I am here, don't think that Argentina is that hot, humid, all year round like stereotype of South America that you think of, because Argentina gets cold. Okay, now here in Iguazu, yeah, at nights and their winter, which is, you know, June, July, August, it does get chilly, okay? So you do want to have layers. But if you're going down to Patagonia, you know, there's a reason why people go to Bariloche to go skiing, because there's snow there. Buenos Aires, yeah, you're going to want a winter jacket because it gets a little chilly. So just realize it's not always the hot, humid kind of weather you think of when you think of South America when you come to Argentina, because it has the seasons, it has a lot of variation. So do make sure you do pack some layers when you do come here, because you know what? It's not what you expect in terms of the weather thing, okay? Also, don't forget that the seasons are different. So summertime, the hot season, December, January, February, March. And the cooler season is going to be June, July, and August, okay? Or cold season. So just have a heads up for that, all right? My next note for you is when you come here, don't expect every Argentine to be really happy if you compare Argentina to other countries in Latin America and South America, because the Argentines will let you know they consider themselves more European than Latin American. So just a heads up for that. If you get a few, you know, looks and shaked heads and wagged fingers, if that does happen. Another don't I have for you is, I know when you think of Argentina, you think, one of the greatest football players ever, Diego Maradona, is from here, played for Boca, won the World Cup for Argentina, all kinds of awesome stuff. And you'll think everybody must love him there. Look, don't think everyone loves Maradona. Now, they love Maradona the player, so just know that if you're thinking, oh, everyone's gonna love me because I'm gonna be a Maradona fan. No, they love their Messi, they love their other guys. So just know that one, okay? And the reason why I bring up Maradona is you're gonna be getting, probably wanna get an Argentina t-shirt when you are here, whether it's a Boca Juniors, River Plate, Racing, or whoever you're gonna get. There's lots of cool teams, of course, just the national teams are really awesome. And if you're gonna be shopping here, there's some cool stuff to buy here actually in Argentina. But my next don't for you actually has to do with the clothes, and that is, don't forget to try things on before you buy, because the size in Argentina does not necessarily line up with the sizes in Europe or the US, okay? So you need to make sure you try it on before that M, which you think is a medium, is gonna fit the same way, okay? So have a heads up for that one. And the thing is, if you're gonna be traveling around Argentina, you're gonna be going to a game, or you're gonna be seeing Bariloche, you're gonna be going to Puerto Madryn, or you're gonna come up here, the Misiones province, and come see Iguazu, don't think it's going to be a quick bus ride to get anywhere in Argentina. Argentina is a very long country, it's a very big country, and it takes a long time to get around, so make sure you're ready for that. So when you're planning your trip, give yourself enough time to get between the different places, all right, because it does take a while, all right? And when you are taking those buses, remember, a 8 to 10 hour, 18-hour bus ride isn't that uncommon when you actually do come down here. Now, another don't I'll have for you, because since you're going to be taking these long bus rides, because actually the flights can be a bit pricey, okay? When you're going to be taking these long bus rides, don't forget to bring a couple battery packs, okay? Now, some of the buses will have plugs for you, some won't. Some will have Wi-Fi, some won't. So you're going to be on these long buses, and you're going to want to make sure your devices stay charged. So I always say, bring 2 good backup chargers. Also, don't forget, Argentina has its own different kind of plug. So your European plugs, the US plugs, the Brazilian plugs you have won't work here. Okay, so make sure you do get an Argentina-specific plug when you do come here, all right? And the thing is, when you're back on those buses, you'll notice that people bring their backpacks on, and they all have a thermos with them. Or when you're driving down the road, you'll see the police at some of the stops, and they'll have a thermos with them with this cup, and you'll see your friends carrying around a thermos. You're like, dude, who carries around a thermos full of hot water? Well, they're not carrying around a thermos just of hot water. What they're carrying around is mate, okay? And the thing I'm gonna tell you about mate is, don't skip out on trying mate when you're here, especially if you get invited by locals to join in the mate circle. So yerba mate, and the reason why I'm standing here is actually, there's a yerba mate tree behind me, and they take the leaves, and what you end up doing, it's a tea, it's an herbal tea basically, but what they do is they put it in the little gourd thing, and you'll see the silver straws and stuff like that. They stuff it in there, and they pour the hot water on there, okay? So just trying to let you know, if you're gonna be a digital nomad when you're down here, or you're gonna be, trying to work while you're abroad down here and traveling, just know, finding a really fast internet can be an issue. It is hit and miss, but just have a heads up for that, okay? Now, my next don't for you is, don't take your safety for granted when you are here in Argentina. And there's different safety things you want to think about. One thing you look at is, hey, look, we're in Iguazu Falls, we're at the national park, and these kind of things, with the sun beating down, with the bugs biting you and stuff like that, take that safety, so have your sunblock, have your bug spray, but also, don't feed the animals and play with the animals when you are here, because they can bite you and hurt you, okay? This isn't just all little fluffy little nice animals. There's some meaner animals that are here, so do be careful with that. And speaking of safety, also the safety is in terms of when you're going around, okay? Argentina does have some crime issues. I'm not gonna lie about that. So if you're gonna be going out and it's gonna be late at night when you're coming back, or that's kind of how it works here, don't forget to take a taxi to get back. I know I'll say about taxis later, but just, don't be afraid to take that taxi back from the club or the restaurant and stuff like that, because safety is an issue when you are here. Also, if you're going to be staying in Buenos Aires, this is one I always think it's important to say, is if you're staying in an Airbnb, okay, don't answer the door unless you're expecting someone, all right? Because there has been known to people robbing people at their homes kind of stuff, so do be careful with that, okay? Also, in terms of money, I guess I should talk about that, because a lot of times that comes up in safety, is don't forget to bring lots of small bills, especially US dollars, okay? The US dollar is like the de facto second currency here in Argentina, and you can pay with it all over the place. And the thing is, a lot of places will actually put it up what their exchange rate is, so you can pay straight in dollars there, no problem. Now, a lot of places, especially in tourist areas, credit cards, Visa, MasterCard are accepted lots and lots and lots of places. I've had American Express a few times too, but the thing is cash is more appreciated when you are here, and what's best is if you have small US bills, because then a $5 taxi ride will get you a lot of places, and then you don't have a 10 or a 20 or a 50 that no one's gonna be able to break, really, okay? So have the smaller bills, all right? So do have a heads up for that. Oh, also, if you're gonna be going to the ATMs here, don't think the ATMs are outside. The ATMs are inside the banks or inside like a mall, okay? So the ones that are in the banks, if you're going after hours, you're gonna have to swipe your card to get into the bank to go get your money out. Don't expect the ATM to be English at first. I know when you put your international card in, you think it's gonna register, oh, international, give me the choices of the languages. No, usually what happens is you're gonna put your PIN number in first and then enter, or continua, which is continue. You'll see that, and then it'll give you a selection of what you wanna do, okay? And if you're coming from the US or Europe, remember you're probably using your checking account, that's corriente, okay? That's one you wanna look at, that you're gonna push, and then it'll switch over, oh, what language do you want? And usually it's gonna be Spanish, English, or Portuguese are gonna be your options, okay? Now, when you get your money from the ATM, another note I'm gonna have for you is don't count your money when you're walking out of the bank. Put everything in your wallet before you leave the bank, okay? So don't flash your cash when you're here in Argentina. Also, don't wear your bling, your necklaces and your earrings and your rings and stuff like that, and nice watches. Just leave that stuff at home. But one thing I will say is don't dress like a slob in Argentina. They have style here, but you notice their style doesn't involve a lot of glitz and glamour kind of ritzy kind of stuff. So just kind of be cool, but don't bring the bling, because that can put you in a situation where you might become more of an easy target for people to rob you, because it's more of the robberies I've heard about and seen here. It's been more of, you know, crimes of opportunity versus I'm going to go get them, especially with tourists. So just have a heads up for that. With those small US bills or the pesos you have and stuff like that, when you're taking taxis, one thing I'm gonna say is don't expect every taxi to take you when you are in Argentina, okay? They don't have to, or at least they don't have to in their mind, and so don't expect them to take you. And the thing is don't expect super amazing service in those taxis. Hence why you don't tip your taxi driver here. They're not expecting it for a reason, all right? Now, the thing I would say is if you're gonna be flying into Buenos Aires or Cordoba, or you're coming to Iguazu, or you're gonna be taking the ferry over from Uruguay or something like that, don't be afraid to take a remise. Okay, a remise or remises, those are hired cars, and you'll see it at the stations. And basically what you're doing is you're paying, I mean, a slight price premium. I'm saying like 25% more, maybe less, okay? Sometimes more, okay? But what it is you have a private driver that drives you where you want to go, so you don't have to deal with the taxi PS, you don't have to worry about those things, and I find those to be quite good. So if you gotta be someplace, you know, and you're not sure the taxi's gonna make it, talk to your hotel about setting up a remise, a private driver to take you places. That can be a lot easier. Yes, you pay a bit more, but it makes life so much easier, especially when you're getting out of the airport or you're gonna be heading, you know, back in from the ferries or something like that. It can be a really nice thing. And the thing is, when you're coming into the airport, or you're coming in from the ferry or at the bus station and stuff like that, there's gonna be something that kind of ruffles your feathers, okay? And I'm gonna say this, don't get frustrated with the service and sometimes the attitude of some of the people here in Argentina. Because the thing is everybody's doing something, it's their own thing, and Argentines have kind of a reputation throughout South America to be a little stuck up or a little self-important. And the thing is, the people are awesome here. I've had great times with Argentines all over the country. People go and take me to asados to grill at their houses, and we've gone driving in the dunes and stuff like that. I remember when I was in college and we were like surfing and stuff. I mean, it was just a great experience when I was here. And the thing is you love the people when you get to know them, but when you don't know them, sometimes it can get a little frustrating. And where you're going to get the most frustrated is, one, if you're flying in or you're taking the ferry in, you got to be at the baggage claim. Everyone the whole family huddles around, and you can't get to your stuff. You're like, you know, permiso, lo siento, permiso, can I get by, please, excuse me? No, you got to kind of like muscle your way through there for those things, all right? And it gets really frustrating. But probably the one that's going to get you the most is when you're taking the buses, which you will take, and you got to put your luggage underneath the bus. When you're trying to get your stuff off the bus, everyone is standing right there. So it's mom, dad, grandmas, the kids, everybody's waiting for that one piece of luggage. You're like, dude, there's 6 of you to get one luggage. Could you just move out of the way for a sec? And that I've seen has really frustrated a lot of tourists I've talked to here. So just relax, it'll be okay, you know? And sometimes I've known some tourists to get upset because they might give you nicknames when you are here. That has happened to me. I've become Genki, which actually is a kind of derogatory term for an American back in the day when I was here. But hey, you know, people call me, gordo, of course, I'm a fat guy, but just take it with a grain of salt. Just relax, because you know what, like I said, things take a little bit more time here. Just have a little more patience when you're here, and that's going to make things a lot easier. Now let's focus on some food don'ts when you're here. Now, one food don't I want to tell you is don't forget to memorize this word, jugoso. Jugoso. It means like juicy, okay? Because in Argentina, they love their meat well done. We're talking like no pink. No pink at all, no blood, no, no, no. We want to cook through. That's how they like it here. And if you don't like your meat well done, you need to make sure you tell them jugoso, okay? Because otherwise, man, you might be having a pretty, I mean, this beef here is fantastic, okay? But it's gonna be rock solid sometimes, or really, really well done. So make sure you don't forget jugoso, okay? Because the meat here is fantastic. And I guess I could say it's like, you know, don't be a vegetarian coming to Argentina because there's so many great meats here. And the beef here, oh my God, bife de chorizo, which is like a sirloin steak, is fantastic. Ojo de bife is like a ribeye. Lomo is a tenderloin. I mean, there's so many great meats here. Or chorizo, which is a sausage with pork. I mean, just so much great meat here, all right? But just know, if you like a little blood, a little pink, in your steak, jugoso, okay? I'm just trying to help you out with that one, all right? So when you order your food here, I have another don't for you. They don't include the side dishes every single time, okay? So when you order your steak, and you're like, man, that's a good price for a steak, you might see that, oh wait, and I have to order the fries or the arroz cremoso, the creamy rice on the side, okay? So don't forget that might be something there. But I have one thing with those side dishes, don't be ashamed to share a side dish. I mean, when you order papas fritas as a side, I mean, I would order it and it would be for me, my dad, and the boys, and my mom and Josh would have a couple too. I mean, it's a big serving. So don't be ashamed to share your sides. So when we'll eat, for example, tonight, I mean, I don't know, we're gonna have like 2 or 3 steaks, you know, and then there's actually good fish here, river fish here in Iguazu. And so we'll have that, and the kids will have their things, but we'll have 2 sides, because we'll share those between all of us and it'll be enough. So don't worry. And also, don't feel bad if you just get a side dish for a meal, because it's big enough for a meal, okay? My last don't for you is a sweet one on the food. Don't forget to get some dulce de leche or some ice cream when you are here. And the thing is, if you're not sure what dulce de leche is, it's condensed milk and sugar cooked down. It looks like a caramel, but it's more creamy and smooth than like a harder caramel kind of stuff. Oh, and don't say dulce de leche is caramel. That would be one I would want to tell you, okay? They're not the same, and don't say that to the locals. They will not appreciate that, okay? But don't forget to get some of that dulce de leche. And there's different ways you can get it. I mean, one of my things I like to get, and I get for the boys all the time, are the alfajores, which I know I'm saying, I butchered every time I say it, but that's kind of how you would say it. And basically what it is it's cookie, dulce de leche cookie, and then it's all covered in chocolate, or there might be multiple layers of it. That's the tastiest way to get your dulce de leche if you want to take it home and share with people. But also when you're going around and you're at the bus stations and stuff, they make quick, easy snacks to grab one and go. But another way you get your dulce de leche, and what I think is really great here in Argentina, is actually the helado, the ice cream here, or gelato, whatever you want to call it. The ice cream here in Argentina is phenomenal. Throughout the country, there's some great chains, you know, Volta, Freddo, and stuff like that. But what I recommend is don't just go to the chain ones. Go and find a mom and pop ice cream place anywhere in Argentina, and you're gonna find some amazing ice cream. With the dulce de leche ice cream, you will be happy with that. Or the dulce de leche ribbon going through it, oh my God, it's so good. So you will have that. And the first don't I have for you is, don't be afraid to give the finger. No, not the middle finger, this finger. The finger wave is something you're gonna need to have when you are here. If someone's asking for money, or someone you don't want to shop at their store, or someone's bothering you, just that little nod and finger wave will make a big difference to get people to go away, all right? Now, the second don't I have for you is, don't be upset if the locals do that to you if you're wearing a local soccer jersey, okay? Because Boca and River Plate, they're big time rivals here, okay? So if you get a Boca jersey, which is blue, yellow, blue, okay, like going across this way, and you see someone going, and they do this to you, yeah, don't get upset, because they're just saying, no, 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 tourist, you made the wrong choice. You should have got the River Plate jersey like that. And vice versa, if you're wearing a River Plate, the red and white with the stripe going this way, you'll see people, should be this way, should be Boca. So just give you the heads up for that one to start off. And the thing is, if you come here, you can go to a game, it's totally fine, whether you go to River or Boca or one of the other ones. But the thing is I would not recommend going to one of the derbies when it's River Plate versus Boca. That's when you have some issues. Otherwise, go enjoy a game when you are here. It is pretty kind of a cool experience to go see. Now, my next don't for you is, don't get put off by the service and sometimes smugness of the locals here in Buenos Aires. Now, Argentines kind of have a reputation throughout South America for being a little haughty-taughty, a little bit more, well, we are better than the rest of the South Americans. And the thing is sometimes that comes off in the service when you are here. And the thing is that's not all of Argentina. That's really like kind of here in Buenos Aires. But it's kind of like if you go to London, people are like, well, I'm from London, I'm better than the rest of the UK. Or I'm from New York, of course I'm better. I live in New York than everybody else in the US. You do have that kind of feel sometimes here, so it can get a bit frustrating with the service. So that's why I'm gonna say is don't forget to bring your patience when you are here. When it comes to getting your bags, if you're coming off the ferry from Uruguay, that can be quite frustrating with the pack lines. Like, my bags are, excuse me. Eventually they look at you, what? Like, can I get my bag? What? You know, even if it's in Spanish. So just have that patience when you are here, because the thing is, the people actually are really cool. I went to school here in college and I loved my time here. I met lots of great local friends. They'd, you know, I got to go to their summer house, I got to go to the asados, I got to go, you know, travel around the country with them, and they're really, really cool. Just got to get ready for that little like brusqueness, smugness sometimes. Oh, and don't be surprised if they give you a nickname, whether you're going into a restaurant or you're going to be going out with your buddies. I mean, yes, now I get to be called El Gordo, okay, but I was called Yankee for a while, which is kind of a derogatory term, Yankee, but you know, it was like, oh, but it's in fun because you're from the US. And so you do have those things. I know my oldest son, the place we've been going to quite often, he's like, haircut, you're back. I mean, you have these kind of things here. So don't be put off by it. It's kind of one of these endearing things. Like, look, I like you. We're going to give you a nickname. It's all good. Okay. And the thing is what I will say is don't skip out on using public transportation here in Buenos Aires. The city is huge. And yes, you can take taxis around town. I'll talk about them later. And they have Uber here and things like that. No big deal. It's not too expensive. But the thing is, it just takes time. Whereas you take the public transportation, like the subte is the subway, the metro. It goes a lot of places, not everywhere, but it goes a lot of places that you want to go as a tourist, and it's pretty affordable to take. So I do recommend taking the subte. Also, the buses go a lot of places as well, so that's really helpful. But I will say is, don't expect to take the subte, the subway, to Recoleta, where the cemetery is behind me here, or going to Boca, where the painted houses are that you really want to see, kind of the two big tourist destinations. You're going to need to take a bus or take a taxi or Uber to those places. Now, speaking of Recoleta, we're here, and well, that's the Centro Cultural de Recoleta. But behind that church over there is the Recoleta Cemetery, and that's where you'll see, you know, Eva Perón's tomb, and you'll see all these amazing tombs when you go there. I mean, it's just gorgeous to check out. You're walking around like, my God, this is like, these mausoleums, these tombs are just unbelievable. The artwork, the architecture, and things like that, it's just amazing. But the thing is don't be underwhelmed when you get to Eva Perón, Evita, when you get to her tomb, because it's just on a side pathway, just a black tomb with a little plaque of hers on there. There'll be a big line to it, and you're gonna see all these other really cool tombs and mausoleums kind of stuff. And you get there to her, it's like, that's it? It's so famous. No, it's because she's famous, okay? So don't just see hers, walk around and take it in, because there's some pretty amazing tombs when you are there. Now, another don't I have for you, specifically for the Recoleta Cemetery, when you hear the bell ringing when it's time to close, get out. I know some people are like, haha, I'm gonna be cool and I'm gonna stay after hours. Don't do that, okay? You hear the bell going, it's time to make a beeline for the exit, okay? Because nobody wants to sleep in there, and especially the people that work there, they don't want you sleeping there either, okay? So just a heads up for that. Now, speaking of some of the other neighborhoods, one thing is that I talked about going to Boca, and Boca is really cool to see because that's where Boca Juniors plays. So you can do a really cool tour of the stadium there. The thing is though, and there's a nice museum too, but that's where you see the painted buildings, you know, the El Caminito, where you see there's always the tango dancers there and stuff like that. It's a really cool place to go. It's extremely touristy though, so don't be surprised if you pay a lot more for your lunch there, for your steak there and red wine than you do in other parts of the city. But the thing is, don't stay there after dark, because you know there's the tourist areas. Venturing out of the tourist areas, you got to be careful, especially when it starts to get dark. So do have a heads up for that one. And kind of with that, just in general, just like in any big city, I don't recommend wandering around at night when you are here. Do take taxis or Ubers if it is nighttime to get back home, whether you're coming back for a club or dinner or museums or whatever. Just have a heads up for that. Another don't I have for you is actually, don't think that it's warm all year round here in Buenos Aires. We're here in July and August, okay? And that is winter here. I mean, I've got my quarter zip on, and I wish I had a winter coat on too. It gets cold here in Buenos Aires in the winter months, which are June, July, August. Yes, those are cold times of the year. You come in January, yes, it's hot as all get out, but just know if you're coming in, you know, Northern Hemisphere summertime, which is winter down here, you're gonna need to bring layers because it does get chilly when you are here. Now, my next don't for you is, don't try to be a vegetarian in Buenos Aires. Now, if you are a vegetarian, there are a lot of salad options, and there are actually some vegetarian restaurants around town, but I'm gonna tell you, Buenos Aires and Argentina, this is a meat eating country. They love their meat and they eat tons of steak. And the thing is, you have bife de chorizo, which is like a sirloin steak, which is fantastic. Lomo, which is a tenderloin. Or maybe you want a steak sandwich, lomito. Or maybe you want to have a chorizo. Oh my God, the sausages here, chorizo, the spicy sausage is fantastic. And if you get a choripan, which is the sausage in a roll with chimichurri on top, oh my God, it's so good. And you're gonna love it. And the thing is though, it's meat, 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 and more meat. There are a bunch of Italian restaurants here too, and usually you'll see Italian and meat on tons of restaurants things, but just know, being a vegetarian here is kind of tough, all right? At least in terms of what you really want to have when you are here, because there's so much meat. And also what there's so much of is wine. So don't pass up the wines, especially the reds. Malbec, Syrah, they're fantastic when you're here, and they go great with all the meats. Or just to sit back and drink some wine at a cafe, watching the world go by, have an empanada, maybe having some dulce de leche, which is like a caramel. It's caramely. It's not caramel. It's caramely. It reminds you of that. Oh, it's so good. And I guess I can't forget to tell you, don't forget to get the ice cream. I mean, I don't know what happened, but when they brought ice cream to Buenos Aires, they somehow found a way to make ice cream even better. There's some amazing chains, Volta, Fredo. There's tons of chain ice cream places, mom and pop ice cream places, but it's so good here. And you're like, how the heck do you make ice cream this much better? I mean, it is fantastic here. Don't forget to leave room for that ice cream, okay? Because you're going to have some. At least 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times a day. That's all. But, you know, just 5 or 6 times a day, and that's all the ice cream you need. But man, it is good. Now the thing is, you want that ice cream, right? But we gotta pay for it. How do we pay for it? Well, here they have the Argentine peso, which you can get from the ATMs around town, no big deal. I will say though, if you're gonna go to the ATMs after hours, they're inside the banks a lot of times, so you're gonna need to find the swipe, and then you swipe the card to get into the bank so you can get in and get your money. It might take you a few screens to get to actually the English part of the menu, but it does happen, so do have a heads up for that. Also, in terms of money to bring with you, I would bring US dollars when you come here. And don't bring anything bigger than a 20, okay? Have a bunch of 5s and 10s when you come, because you know what? If you gotta take a taxi, that $5 bill will cover a lot of places throughout town, and you're not worried about it, okay? I know I brought about $25 bills, and they've been lifesavers for me when I've been here. And the thing is the ATMs that are around town, like I said, you got to swipe in, but they're not as frequent as you kind of would hope they'd be. So do have a heads up for that, okay? And the thing is, with that money, one of the things you're going to want to spend it on are the museums. So don't forget to go to the museums. The thing is, there's amazing architecture to see and free things to do, like the Recoleta Cemetery or walking around San Telmo on a Sunday. My gosh, when they have the antiques market there or the fair there. I mean, it's more like a flea market, really. When you walk around, there's just so much to see outside with the amazing architecture. Whether going to Plaza de Mayo and seeing the Casa Rosada, the Pink House, or you're going by the Congress, there's so much great architecture just to take in. You're thinking, man, I don't need to go in anywhere. There's so much to see just outside. Well, don't forget about the museums. The National Museum of Bellas Artes, beautiful arts or fine arts, that's cool. The Museum of Latin American Art, that's cool. Natural Science Museum. Hey, Argentina is famous for finding dinosaurs. They have that. There's an Evita Museum. There's so many cool museums you can check out when you are here. So make some time to do those, okay? And the thing is sometimes they're open later, like the Natural Science Museum is from 2 until 7, okay? Not in the morning, it's from 2 in the afternoon until 7 at night, every day of the week. So it gives you something to do on a Monday when a lot of the other museums might be closed. And one don't I do have is one I noticed when I first came here, when I studied here, and then I came back later again to brush up my Spanish, and now I'm here again, is don't be surprised if all your years of Spanish in high school and college sometimes don't help you here in Buenos Aires. Because Buenos Aires, the porteños, the locals, sometimes have their own dialect and their own vocabulary and stuff like that. And in Argentina, they use vos. Instead of tu, like the informal you, hey, you there, they use vos. And so you had that. So there's a little difference in the conjugations kind of stuff. So don't be surprised if you have little hiccups in your Spanish. But it's totally fine. They'll understand you and you'll have a good time with it, all right? Now, I do need to talk about some of the safety don'ts when you are here. One thing I would say is don't tempt your fate when you're crossing the street. Look, the drivers here are nuts, okay? The taxi drivers are crazy. And when you're going and walking around, you'll see how dangerous the streets can be in terms of trying to cross them. So please do pay attention. Always be looking. Just because it's a green light for you to walk doesn't mean the people are stopping, okay? It's amazing how many times you see people accelerate into the stop, all right? And when I lived here, man, I saw way too many people get hit by cars, and it was a really traumatic experience. So I do not want that to happen to anyone when you're here. So do pay attention. Do not take it for granted when you're crossing the street. And speaking of walking on the streets and don'ts, don't forget to look down occasionally when you're walking, because you're gonna see a lot of people walking around with like 15 dogs, the professional dog walkers. Yeah, first don't is don't try to pet the dogs with the dog walkers, because there's 15 dogs, okay? So have a heads up for that. But those doggies, they leave little doggy bombs around. So don't forget to look down to look for the dog poop, because there is quite a bit on the streets sometimes, so, or especially near the parks and stuff. So do have a heads up for that one, because you want to look good when you're here. You don't want to look like you got poop on your foot, because you do. Now, my next few don'ts actually deal with the taxis when you are here. What you need to know is, one, don't think the taxis are necessarily going to take you. If the taxi driver doesn't like you, if the taxi driver doesn't want to go at that time, or the taxi driver doesn't want to go where you want to go, they don't have to take you, okay? So we've been refused service quite a few times. So you do want to have a heads up for that. So if you have to get somewhere, you need a guaranteed thing. One, you can, you can do Uber or something like that, or you can do a radio taxi where your hotel will call and they'll come pick you up. So there's like an extra fee to be picked up, so you have that, all right? So now also, don't forget when you are driving around the taxis and stuff, don't forget to look out the window, because there's so much great architecture here, and you will probably be going down Avenida 9 de Julio, the 9th of July Boulevard, the big huge thing there, and you'll see the Teatro Colón, like, oh my God, look at that beautiful theater that's there. Or you'll see the Obelisco, the obelisk that's in the center, there you'll see that. There's so much great architecture, neoclassical architecture, turn of the century, 1800s to 1900s architecture here. This city is gorgeous, and so when you are going around, make sure you peek around, because the city's so big, you're not gonna get time to hit San Telmo to the market, maybe in Boca and Recoleta and Palermo and stuff like that. You really got a lot of places to see, so use that time when you're driving in the taxi to kind of do a little tourist thing as well. Also, with the taxis, you don't tip the taxis when you drive with them. Taxis aren't expensive, but you don't usually tip. Maybe you round it so there's less change, but that's one thing. Also, don't forget to have small bills when you are taking taxis, because it's not unheard of for taxis to be like, oh, I don't have any change, so your cheap taxi ride just got a little bit more expensive, okay? Now, I know you said you don't tip the taxi drivers, but don't forget to tip your waiters about 10% when you're going to your parillas and you're having your steaks or whatever, your Italian food when you are here. You do tip the waiters though, 10%, all right? Now, some other safety things I would say is when you walk around Buenos Aires, you'll see the people are dressed pretty well. And you don't dress like a slob when you're here, okay? I'm gonna say that. Don't dress like a slob. You do dress up a bit more in Buenos Aires. But having said that, don't wear the bling, the rings and the diamonds and stuff like that. Leave that stuff at home, because you don't want to make yourself a target, because there is a crime issue here in Argentina, especially here in Buenos Aires. And to go along with that, if you're not staying at one of the hotels or posadas around town, if you're renting an Airbnb or you're staying with a family, don't open the door for anybody at your Airbnb unless you're expecting them, okay? Because it's not unheard of that people actually get robbed at their door front. I know when I came back here 10 years ago and took some Spanish classes for a few weeks, and I stayed with this wonderful family. We got to be really good friends. We ate and drank and had a great time together. The thing is, though, they said, hey, Mark, don't open the door. Unless you're expecting someone, don't ever open the door for anybody, because it's not uncommon. They'll come and they may rob you at the door. So don't open the door for anybody that you're not expecting. So just have a heads up. Now, it probably is not going to happen, but the thing is, it's one of those things you need to think about, okay? And since we're getting a little long in the time of this video, I think I will finish off with some don'ts about time here. One, don't be early, okay? In Argentina, it's normally be 20 to 30 to 40 minutes late for a social engagement. Now, for the buses and a train to go to Tigre or for a plane or something like that, yeah, or the ferry to Uruguay, yeah, don't be late for that. But other stuff, it's totally normal, okay? So don't be upset if your friends aren't there on time, because that's just how it works here, okay? So have patience. And with that, don't expect to eat dinner early, okay? Dinner, some restaurants don't have their kitchens open until 8 o'clock at night, all right? So don't expect to eat that 5 or 6 o'clock dinner. Now, if you're in touristy areas or other places, there'll be places that are open you can get, but the real places, 8 or later, actually 10 o'clock is kind of a normal dinner time here. And I know when I lived here, it wasn't uncommon for me to see families eating dinner at midnight and the kids passed out and asleep next to them. I know our kids did that too when we ate late here. And if you're gonna go out, don't go to the bar before midnight, because no one's at the bar. And if you're going to go clubbing, and you want to go clubbing here, if you're a clubbing person, the clubs here are insane fun, okay? But the thing is, they don't start until 2. And the thing is, that club you want to go to might be a restaurant until 2, and then they take from 2 to 2:30 to turn it into a club, and then from 3, 4 o'clock on, then it really gets going, and the party might go until 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. And the thing is, this country is shockingly amazing. I used to go to school here back in the day, and I love my time here, visiting all kinds of great places like Puerto Madryn and going to see the whales there and the penguins, or Iguazu Falls to see that, or maybe you can go down to the glaciers in the south. I mean, Buenos Aires itself is just fantastic, and it's shocking how many cool things there are to do and see and feel and experience when you are here. And some of it's good, some of it's bad, but all of it is fantastic. And so what we're gonna go is through those 10 things that shock tourists when they do come here. And the first thing that shocks tourists is something you should already know about it, and that's one of the things everyone knows about Argentina is the meat. And the thing that shocks people is just how much meat these people eat. I mean, seriously, you will see parrillas, grill houses or steak houses everywhere. You'll see steaks, bife de chorizo, which is a sirloin steak. Oh, it's fantastic. A lomo, oh my God, the tenderloin. Lomito, I just want a steak sandwich instead. Or maybe have some chorizo, the sausages here, or a choripan, a sausage and bread. I mean, God, the meat here is insane, and they love it, and they eat it, and you're like, how y'all stay so thin with all that meat? I guess it's that low carb diet. Oh, I'm starting to understand now. And the thing is, you will eat so much meat when you are here, you're going to want to explode. And the thing is the people love the meat here. So do hit up the meat places. Sorry, my vegetarian travelers, this can be a little bit of a tough travel visit. There are a lot of salads you can get and omelets if you eat eggs, but in general this is a meat eating place. But it's insane how meat eaty this place is, especially if you're getting out of Buenos Aires and going into the countryside and stuff like that. You're gonna eat a lot of meat, so just be ready for it, okay? But what's cool is with that meat, you're gonna have some pretty awesome wine when you are here, okay? So the Syrah and the and the Malbec, yeah, you're gonna be just fine. The reds here are phenomenal. That's my recommendation for you. Just sit back, enjoy the reds, have the steak, and be shockingly satisfied with that, okay? Now the thing is the people here eat a lot of this meat because it's fantastic, and I know after I eat a lot of meat, I'm actually so full I don't want to do anything else. But here they're always doing something. And the second thing that shocks people is where people do something, and that's the telos. If you're not sure what a telo is, it's a love hotel. It's an hourly hotel. Look, here in Argentina, you have lots of people living together, maybe smaller houses, smaller apartments, so maybe multi-generations together. So you don't always have time to snuggle up with your sweetie. And so the very entrepreneurial people here in Argentina have come up with their telos, the love hotels. And the thing is, they can be themed, they can be normal hotels, however you want, but I just want you to know that they're out there. That kind of shocks people. They're like, oh, this hotel is hourly? That's strange. Oh, no. No, it's not. So be ready for that. And the thing is, you won't see the telos everywhere, especially when you're going out and exploring the countryside and stuff like that. But that kind of gets me to think about the third thing that shocks tourists when they come here, is how gorgeous Argentina is. I mean, yes, Buenos Aires, when you come here, Recoleta Cemetery is right behind me, and it's just amazing to walk through there and see the cemetery and see the tombs and stuff like that, the mausoleums. It's like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. But going to see Caminito and La Boca, you have that. You have the Casa Rosada, the pink house. There's so much great architecture here that's beautiful. But for me, what Argentina really is that kind of wild outdoor beauty, whether it is going to the glaciers in the south, okay, it's fantastic, or going along, I don't know, the thousands of miles of beaches they have here. And I remember when I was here, we'd go to the beaches, and at night you'd see the bioluminescence in the water floating by, like, oh my God, this is so gorgeous to see. Or maybe you want to go see Iguazu waterfalls. You've been to Niagara? Take Niagara times 10. That's Iguazu. It's just fantastic to see, you know, the waters crashing down and stuff. It is just fantastic. Maybe you want to do some hiking. Head to Cordoba and go and get in the foothills of the Andes to hike there, or go farther up into the Andes. I mean, it's just gorgeous to see. Go check out Mendoza and have some wine when you're there, and check out the countryside. I mean, going up to Salta Jujuy, there's so much beauty in this country that it really is like, man, this is another nature photo, another nature photo. Oh, and the thing is when you look on your like screensavers, they pop up some beautiful pictures, you know, of nature and landscapes and stuff. Don't be surprised if Argentina pops up a few times on there, okay? Now, the fourth thing that's going to shock you when you come here has to do with time. One is how late they eat dinner here. I mean, don't be surprised if the restaurant doesn't open until 8 o'clock at night and you don't actually go out to get food until 10 at night. And the thing is it's not unheard of to see families out with dinner at 11 p.m., midnight kind of stuff. Oh yes, it's late night eating here. So if you're used to your 5 or 6 o'clock dinner time, look for some empanadas for a snack, because you're gonna have to wait a while. And that kind of shocks tourists, like, why can't I eat yet? Well, in tourist places you can, but it is one of those things. You want the good places, they don't open till later, okay? And the thing is, with that lateness, if you're gonna go to the bars, you don't go to the bar till midnight or something like that. The clubs, I mean, there's restaurants that turn into clubs, and there are restaurants till about 2 in the morning, and then they turn to clubs. So you might party until 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning here, because everything's later. And speaking of late, with that shock with the timing is, yeah, don't be shocked when your Argentine friends are a little late, okay? Being on time is not a thing here, okay? 20 to 40 minutes late, 20, 30 minutes late, totally normal, totally expected. So if you actually show up on time, they're gonna be like, wait a minute, you're not really ready? I'm not ready yet. But I will say is the lateness is like in social settings, but when it comes to grabbing your bus or the ferry or a plane or whatever, that one, don't be late for, okay? The next thing that's gonna shock you is when you go and have your snacks, you're gonna have your steak, they have like really good sides. Like the potatoes here are fantastic if you want some fries, or if you just want your super poncho hot dog, when you're gonna have your ketchup or mustard, or for me, salsa de golf, or you know, it's basically like mayonnaise and ketchup mixed together in these little packets, and it's really good. But the thing that's gonna shock you is how freaking difficult it is to open the ketchup packets and the dulce de leche packets here in Argentina. I mean, seriously, no matter where you go, it's like they want you to like have to use your teeth or like get scissors or use the steak knife to cut open these things. It's unbelievable, because you want to eat that dulce de leche, the you know, it's condensed milk and sugar cooked down together and condensed. It's so good. It's kind of like a caramel kind of feel. It's not caramel, but it's like a caramel kind of thing. And you put that on so many great things that I can't get through the packaging. And so do have a heads up if you get a little frustrated. And the thing is, you also be shocked with that is when you finally get them open, if it doesn't pop up onto you and you get some on you, and the wax napkins don't really help. That's one thing I'm going to tell you. The napkins here, not super helpful, because there's a little bit of wax coating on there. So yes, it's good for smearing, but it's not really good for blotting and picking things up, okay? And that sixth shock is it gets cold here in Argentina. Look, we're farther, this isn't the equator, this isn't Colombia, this isn't Ecuador, this isn't Brazil. We're farther down. So June, July, August, it's cold here. I mean, I got my quarter zip on and my fingers are a little chilly here. I mean, I actually want to film like this because it is cold, and you need to know that when you come down here, because if you're going to come in popular tourist times for the US, June, July, August, it's the coldest time of the year to come, okay? So make sure you're bringing layers, and the farther you go south, the colder it gets, all right? So if you want to come here and have the warm weather and stuff, you need to come December, January, February, March. That's the best time to come to Argentina if you want the summer, if you want to enjoy the beaches, you want to go hiking in the mountains and stuff like that. That's what I recommend. And the thing is with that cold, there's also another shock with that cold is how good the ice cream is here. I mean, seriously, the helado is amazing here. And the thing is, you have chains like Freddo that make great ice cream. You also have mom and pop places that make ice cream here, and all over the country. You're like, my God, you have amazing steak and amazing ice cream, and I don't know how you all stay thin. And they do a great job at staying thin and looking good and making really good ice cream. So do have that ice shock of the cold, and the ice cream is the number 6 when you go to kind of enjoy, but in a cold way when you are here. Now, the 7th thing that might shock you when you come here to Argentina is, remember all those years of Spanish you took and all those Spanish classes you took and the online stuff you did? Well, it might not always help you here in Argentina, because Argentine Spanish is a bit different. So, you know, the familiar you form is actually vos here. And so you have vos, like vos. What the hell is vos? Well, vos is just you informal. And they have a little bit change in the conjugations of some verbs and stuff like that. So it kind of gets a little confusing, but not impossible. But what's impossible is like if you're here in Buenos Aires and they get their dialect going and the slang going, and you're like, wait a minute, I had years of Spanish and I could teach in Spanish and I speak Spanish really well. What's going on? So don't be shocked if your Spanish isn't quite up to snuff at first. It will catch up, and the locals may make a little joke about you about your Spanish. Like, oh, it's really good, you know, for non-Argentine kind of thing. So that is kind of funny. And that kind of leads into the 8th thing that might shock you when you come here, and that's the rivalries and the brusqueness of the people. Now, the people here will be great. They'll show you around. They're super proud of their country, and I met some really amazing people when I'm here. They've showed me around from Bariloche in the south to Puerto Madryn to Mar del Plata. They've taken me all over to show me a great time. But the thing is, for some tourists, they're not used to the kind of the upfront, honest brusqueness that Argentinians are. You won't be surprised when my friends called me Gordo, the fat guy, okay, the fat one. They'll call you tall guy, skinny, whatever. They like to give the nicknames, and sometimes you'll hear me like, man, that's kind of inappropriate. I don't know if you should call people that, but it's how they call their friends. And so be ready for maybe having an inappropriate nickname given to you, but they don't mean it in spite or anything like that. It's just how it goes. And so people might give you those nicknames when you come into a store or when you make friends and stuff like that. So just have a heads up, but don't be upset by that. And with that brusqueness and that like kind of like pointing things out to you, don't be shocked about the rivalry rivalries they have here, whether it is the kind of perception of the the capital versus the provinces, because you'll hear people say, oh, you're from la capital or la provincia, so you're from the capital or the province. And so people have this kind of rivalry, and also especially with football, the big ones obviously River Plate and Boca Juniors. Don't be surprised if you buy a Boca Juniors shirt and you're walking around, people go, they do the stripe. No, you should be wearing a River Plate one. Or if you have a River Plate shirt on, that's the red and white one with the stripe here, they're like, and they do it this way because Boca has the stripe going this way, or the blue and yellow. So do have a heads up for that. And there are a lot of rivalries, and don't be shocked if you want to go to a soccer game and your friends say, hey man, don't go to the Boca River game or don't go to this other game because it's a little bit more rivalry-like than other ones, so just have a heads up for that. Now, the ninth thing that's going to shock you when you come here is how long and varied the bus rides will be. Look, Argentina is a very long country, and the planes are rather expensive when you do fly around the country, so you're going to be using buses to go places. So don't be surprised you're taking a few 20-hour buses while you're here. I know for me, when I took the bus from here in Buenos Aires down to Puerto Madryn to go see the whales at Peninsula Valdez, and I went down, I'm like, oh, it's like a 24-hour bus ride. I got one bus, I'm like, man, it was nice, laid back seats, TV, all kinds of stuff, stuff speakers. I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. Oh, sure, I would love to have a snack. Oh, they have a coffee machine in the bus. Oh, it was so nice. And then when I got down there, I enjoyed my time. Like, well, it's time to go back to Buenos Aires. I go to the bus station. I see, oh, all these buses go to Buenos Aires. I'm like, oh, well, that was actually pretty cheap. I'll just get the cheap one. And I got on, and I swear to God, it was like I was sitting on a piece of wood with maybe this much foam on it for 24 hours. Oh my goodness, my back killed later, okay? So don't be shocked about the differences between the different buses when you are here. So I recommend it. Do pay up for the nicer buses when you're going to go on these long distance ones, because it does pay off. If you don't have the money, you want to take the cheaper ones, it's totally fine. You'll be okay, but just a heads up for that. Also, you might be putting your bags underneath the bus, and if you do that, make sure you keep the stuff you really need, like your passport and your phone or your camera, stuff like that. Keep that with you on the bus and keep it with you just so you have it there, okay? And the 10th thing that's going to shock you when you come here is the driving, okay? I don't know what it is here in Argentina. I mean, I've been to some crazy driving countries, and I make fun of crazy drivers and all around the world. But here, you really got to be careful with the crazy drivers. I mean, when you're getting in that taxi, make sure you put on that seatbelt. You get a remises, which is like a hired car, put that seatbelt on. You're on the bus, put the seatbelt on. Because it's not just your driver, it's the other drivers that drive crazy. And what's really dangerous is actually if you're in a big city like Buenos Aires, the taxis go flying through, the cars go flying through, and the crosswalks, they don't necessarily stop for you. When I was here, I saw multiple people get hit by cars and crosswalks, and it was horrible. And my kids, when I'm here, I'm like, no, don't stand near the edge. Don't walk out because it's green. Make sure you're always paying attention, because you'll be shocked how crazy the drivers can be and how dangerous it can be for you to cross the street. So do have a heads up for that. And the thing is when you travel around the world and you go to different places, there's tons and tons of things to eat. I mean, look online, you'll see the 50 things you have to eat in Buenos Aires, the 1,000 things you have to eat before you die. There is all this stuff out there, but as a traveler, we don't always have the time and the money to eat every single thing out there. So what I want to do here is give you kind of my focus 5 or 6 things that you should definitely have when you're here to enjoy Argentine food and culture kind of together. And the first thing I got to say is when you come here, and what Argentina is most famous for is the steak. Yes, you are going to eat meat. Meat. Vegetarians, maybe not the best country for you. There are options, but listen, this is a meat-eating country, so you're going to have asado. You're going to go and have a barbecue, and you'll go and you'll see the parrillas, the steak houses and the grill houses, and a big, huge thing of all the meats cooking on there. And whether it is a bife de chorizo, like a sirloin steak, oh my God, it's so good, or lomo, like a tenderloin, or maybe a lomito, which is like a steak sandwich, or maybe a chorizo, just a sausage on there, this great morcilla. There's so many great grilled meats here, you're gonna die because it's so good. I mean, it is so filling and so much tastiness when you are here. But I will say is when you go to eat, when you go and order at these restaurants and you have your meat, when it says, bife de chorizo, oh, it's gonna give me a steak. The thing is, you got to order your sides on the side, and the portion sizes of the sides are huge, so you can share them. But definitely get out there and eat as much steak and as much beef as you can. And of course, you can go with the pork too, or the chicken or whatever, but for me, the steak here is phenomenal. And I will say though, if you are going to be ordering the steaks, they like them kind of well done here. If you don't tell them, make sure you tell them jugoso, which is like kind of medium rare. That's the way I like it, because I like a little pink in there. Here, there's not a lot of pink, so make sure you mention that if you don't like it well done, okay? Now the second thing you should have is, I talked about chorizo at the asado, at the grill place, but there's one thing called choripan, and it's just a chorizo, a spicy sausage in bread with chimichurri on top, which is a bunch of like kind of spicy, like veggies kind of chopped up. It looks, you look at it like, oh, it looks like kind of like a salsa kind of thing. Yeah, it's so much more than that. And you put it on top and you have that choripan. And the reason why I love choripan is when you go out and explore outside of Buenos Aires and you go to the fairs and the festivals and all kinds of stuff, that's one of those really common things you have, and it's so good. So make sure you have a choripan if you get a chance. And if you don't have a chance to get a choripan, if you're here in Buenos Aires, don't worry, you can find a super pancho, which is just a big hot dog. You can get that, which is very different than choripan, but definitely try to get some of that sausage when you are here. Now the third thing you need to have, we're going into the sweet category, and dulce de leche. And dulce de leche is what it is, it's condensed milk and sugar cooked together and boiled down. If you see it, it looks like caramel, right? But don't tell them it's caramel. It is different. I'm gonna take my word for it. When you have them, it is very different. And you'll have that caramel on a lot of different dishes, whether you're having a pancake with dulce de leche, or you're putting dulce de leche on your bread in the morning, or you're having your media luna, your croissant kind of thing, with some dulce de leche in it. It's fantastic. But that dulce de leche shows up in a lot of the desserts, so you do want to have when you're here. And one of the things is, when you're walking around and you go to the kiosk, you want to grab a snack, you're looking for something just to carry around and snack on. Well, the alfajores, I know I'm saying it wrong, but the alfajores, it's basically cookie, dulce de leche, cookie, then covered in chocolate, or sometimes it's cookie, dulce de leche, cookie, dulce de leche, cookie covered in chocolate. I mean, there's a lot of different versions, but that's one of those things you really should have when you are here. So I'm kind of tying that thing with the dulce de leche, because you will want to have that. Another sweet you want to have when you are here is the helado, the gelato, you know, the ice cream. I know, everyone loves ice cream, and ice cream's great everywhere in the world, but for some reason, here in Argentina, they are off the chart amazing with their ice cream. I actually went to school here back in the day, and that was one of the things. I mean, I lost weight when I was here because I ate steak and ice cream, and steak and ice cream, and I exercised a lot too, and I was younger. But the thing is, the ice cream is unbelievable. And yes, you can go to chains like Fredo and have amazing ice cream, but what I recommend is find some of these little smaller mom and pop places, or artisanal or our artist kind of style ice cream places. They're awesome, and there's a lot of really great flavors you can have there. My personal favorite is banana split ice cream. It's not a banana split. What it is banana flavored ice cream, and it tastes like real bananas, not the fake banana stuff. And then it has a little piece of chocolate in it, and then it has a ribbon of dulce de leche through it. Oh my God, it is awesome. But whatever kind you like, you'll be happy, because the ice cream is amazing. And then I think the next thing I want to talk about, the things you're going to eat when you're in Argentina, is the Italian food. So they got the gelato, you know, the ice cream is here from Italy, but then you have the Italian food. And you have lots and lots of Italian restaurants, and pastas will show up on a lot of your menus. And how it usually works, they'll give you different kinds of noodles and different kinds of sauces. So you pick and choose to match, and you will be just fine with that. One of the ones I like are the gnocchis here. They're really good, and you'll see they get kind of more popular at the end of the month. It's just one of those things you want to have. Also with the Italian food, you can get pizza when you are here. It is a bit different than if you're used to the US or Italian style pizza. It's more of a thicker, breadier kind of pizza with a lot of cheese on top. And I know if you got kids and they're used to other kinds of pizza, you might want to take a look before you order it for them, because there might be better stuff for them, like the steak, because your kids are going to love to eat here. It is awesome to have here, okay? Now the sixth thing you need to enjoy when you are here, and it goes really well with that meat, is the wine. Especially the red wines here, they're fantastic. Whether you have a Syrah or you have a Malbec, I mean, they're just really, really full-bodied, really tasty wines. And so you might just go to a cafe and order a bottle of wine and sit there and enjoy the day. And it's not just here in Buenos Aires, it's in different parts of the country. And it is really cool because the wine is fantastic when you are here. And the thing is, if you're just sitting back and having that wine, you also might want to have a snack sometime, because another thing you should know about eating in Argentina is dinner time is late. Like sometimes restaurants don't open until 8 o'clock. It's not unnormal, like not unheard of, to have dinner at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. When I lived here, I remember I would keep coming back from the gym about midnight, and there would be families having dinner, and it's midnight and the kids are there, and you know, the kids are asleep at the table, but it's totally normal to eat late. So if you're used to that 5, 6, or 7 o'clock dinner time, you're probably going to grab some snacks, okay? So I'll give you some snacks and we'll get out of here, because I'm getting kind of hungry, okay? So in terms of snacks, one thing I recommend is the empanadas. And empanadas, it's dough, it's a filled puff dough pastry, okay? So it's basically typically you can have carne, you can have beef inside, or chicken, or ham and cheese, or sometimes they'll put dulce de leche, or they'll put different fillings inside, but it's kind of a traditional snack food you'll have here. And what's cool is it wraps up nice and you can eat it, so it's not that messy when you have it. You don't see people walking around and eating in Argentina. It's kind of not a thing, but if you're gonna do it, empanada is the easiest way to do it. Another thing you'll see, like for snack stuff, you'll see a lot of omelets, a lot of quiches you can grab, or the super pancho, the little the hot dog stuff you have here. Those are also a nice simple thing to grab that are usually available all day long. But probably the one thing you'll see the most are the media lunas. Now media luna is a croissant, but here their croissants are they're sugary. It's almost like there's like a glaze over them. Sometimes they'll be filled with dulce de leche or something like that, but the typical one is just a plain sugar-coated croissant that you have with your coffee in the morning. That's a typical breakfast thing, but also a typical snack thing to have during the day. Anyway, I hope this helps you know some of the things you should have when you do come here to Argentina. There's a lot of great food and it's a really good time to go, and the prices work really well too, so you can eat well at a good price and have a good time and just enjoy. So, and here in Boca just represents the first thing I love about Buenos Aires, and that is all the different neighborhoods around the city. Coming to La Boca and see the painted houses and then the tango dances and stuff like that is such a great experience. Going to San Telmo on a Sunday and to see the flea markets that are there, it's so cool. Going to Recoleta and going and seeing the Recoleta Cemetery where you walk through and you have all the tombs and mausoleums there. Or you're going to the Microcentro and you're going to see the center there, and you're going to see the Obelisco or the Obelisk when you're there, and Avenida Nueve de Julio. There's so many different districts around here, so many different neighborhoods. You get a totally different feel. I know Liam, when we went to San Telmo, he's like, it's like I'm in a different city versus Recoleta, the other parts. I was like, wow, dude, you've noticed these differences? And you have that here. And that's why it's the first thing I love, is the distinct differences between the different neighborhoods all over Buenos Aires. So definitely get out and go explore different neighborhoods. And the second thing you're gonna love when you come here is when you're going around the architecture. I know there's a different neighborhoods, they have different feels, but part of that is the architecture that is here. You're gonna see amazing buildings from the late 1800s, early 1900s, you know, in the center historic part of the city, or whether you're going through the different districts, like I said. But really the architecture and design of this city is fantastic. And so when you're driving around, make sure you're looking out your taxi windows and stuff like that, or out your bus windows, because there's so much architecture to take in and see, and just the design and feel of the city. I mean, it's like the architecture, design, and vibe of Buenos Aires is just awesome. So the third thing you're gonna love when you come here is that there's so much to do in Buenos Aires. There's tons of really good museums. The National Museum of Bellas Artes, our beautiful arts, the Latin American Art Museum, the Natural Science Museum. Coming here to the different districts and seeing the museums. Or if you're in Palermo, you can go see the Avita Museum if you want. There's tons and tons of things to do here, but not just cultural stuff. There's also stuff for kids to do here. And what's cool is there's good clubs, there's good bars, tons of restaurants, all kinds of stuff. So you always have something going on, which is awesome. The fourth thing you're gonna like when you come here is Buenos Aires is actually pretty affordable. You know, a lot of places where you go, it's like super cheap. This is not a super cheap place, okay? I'm not gonna say it's cheap. What I will say is an affordable place to come in South America that has great architecture, tons of stuff to do, so it is really worth your tourist dollar when you come here. It goes really far. And the thing is, with that affordability, you actually can pay with US dollars here a lot of times, and it's totally fine. So do bring some small bills when you do come here. They'll make life easier. And the thing is, with that money you do have and how affordable it is here, you're gonna have the fifth thing that I love, and it's the best thing about coming here, is the beef, the wine, and the ice cream. Yes, three great tastes go together in one love, because the food here is wonderful. So you get to go to Parilla, go to a grill house, oh my god, having the bife de chorizo, which is like a sirloin steak, or the lomo, which is a tenderloin, oh my god, or just a lomito, a little steak sandwich, or maybe chorizo, which isn't beef, but it's on the grill kind of stuff, the sausage. It is awesome. But the red wines here, the Syrah, the Malbec, you want to have some of those because they're so good. But for me, it's the helado. The ice cream here in Buenos Aires is awesome. And there are chains like Volta and Freda you can go to, but if you can find some mom and pop places, go, eat, enjoy, you're welcome. And if you're looking for really good ice cream, get stuff with dulce de leche, because when the dulce de leche is like a ribbon through there, or just the flavor, it is awesome. I know my favorite, and I've said it in every video, is the banana split ice cream, which is banana ice cream, a little bit of chocolate, and a bunch of dulce de leche, like caramel kind of stuff through it. Oh my God, it's so good. And that's why those are the 5 things that tops off my 5 loves of coming to Buenos Aires. And I guess the 6th love is actually, there's a really easy day trip over to Colonia and Uruguay you can do, which is really cool. But the thing is, those are my loves. But what are the things you're not gonna love? Because I know I usually start with the hates, and this time I saved it to the end because I've really loved my time living here in Argentina, so I wanted to start with the good stuff. But what are the things you're not gonna like? Well, let's go to a different part of town and see that. So now we're here outside the Recoleta Cemetery in Recoleta. That's where you see all the really cool mausoleums and tombs and stuff like that. It is really awesome. You have to go there. The thing is, though, when you come to Buenos Aires, there's things you're not going to like. And so now we're going to focus on those kind of 5 things you might not like when you come here. And the first thing I want to talk about is something, if you're not used to it, it might get to you. And that is the kind of general overall lateness of Buenos Aires. And the thing is here, the lateness can be, look, the day starts later. I mean, it's after 8 o'clock and you only see a couple people walking around. So if you're an early morning traveler, want to see sites, museums and stuff like that, morning is just nothing's happening, okay? So that can be a bit off-putting. Like, oh, I want to get some stuff done. So what I'd recommend is actually go walk around and enjoy some of the architecture in the morning because it is kind of quiet, or film your videos because it's kind of quiet, okay? Another thing with the lateness I would say is know that some of the museums do open later. For example, the Natural Science Museum, where they have a really cool room of dinosaurs, because I mean, Argentina's a big dinosaur hub. That doesn't open until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So do make sure you check the times and stuff like that, because the kind of the inconsistencies of the times when things start and close and open can get to people. And with that is when you have dinner time, you know, here 8, 9, 10 p.m. is a normal time to go out for dinner. So if you're used to an earlier dinner, a 5, 6, 7 p.m. dinner, know that you're gonna have to search for places that are open. Now, if you're in tourist areas, they'll have stuff open though, but if you don't have a real Argentina asado and things like that, you're gonna have to wait to do those things. Also, in terms of the lateness, you also have to know about the time factor. And the thing is if you do schedule something here in Buenos Aires, just know, don't be surprised that people you're working with don't show up for like 20 to 30 minutes after you planned it. So that is one of those things that kind of gets people when you're here. But really, it kind of comes down to that inconsistency. And the inconsistency is something that leads into the second thing you might not like when you come here is the inconsistency in the service, okay? Because you can have amazing service here. I mean, we were at a place just right down the way, this cafe. The guys were super attentive, super awesome. And I'm not talking that over-the-top USA, how can I help you, how can I help you, how can I help you service. No, what I'm talking about is they're like, you know, when you needed something, they were there to help you with your wine, they were helping you order things. But they let you have your space, but they were there if you needed them. Very super awesome. So you can have this home run hitting awesome kind of stuff. But then on the other side, you can have what I would say is the most, you know, I don't care about service ever. You know, it's like, hey, could I get seated? Hey, could I get a menu? Hey, could I order? Hey, I'd like to give you money to pay so I could leave. So make sure you do have some patience when you do come here when it comes to the service. Also, when you're going around, sometimes you hear people talk about people in Buenos Aires being a little brusque, being a little tough to deal with sometimes. I've always had a good time here and enjoyed the people. There's some really awesome people. But I do know, like, when you're getting your bags at the airport, or if you're coming over from Uruguay, or you're trying to get into something, you know, they're just like, excuse me, could I get through? And like, kind of nonchalant, well, maybe eventually, then they'll move. So just make sure you have your patience when you come here, because that time factor, that inconsistency of service and stuff, those first two kind of things that you might not like kind of go together, okay? Now, the third thing I'd mention are the little ripoffs and the taxis. There's things you might not like when you're here. Now, Buenos Aires doesn't have a ton of scams and stuff like that. I mean, it's kind of like any other big city. You do have to deal with that. But there are some small ripoff things. A lot of it will go with taxis and stuff. You know, for example, you know, you might be in a taxi and they don't have any change, okay? Oh, I'm sorry, I can't change your 500 peso note. I don't have any money. I only have like 100 left, so you're gonna have to tip me 100, pesos. You're like, dude, come on. So make sure you have small bills, okay? Like, and you can pay with US dollars here a lot of times. So just have like a bunch of $5 bills. That's what I've had for my backup, and have smaller bill pesos just so you know you can pay the things. Other little things, little ripoffs we've had is, you know, some places they'll have the credit card sign, and then you go to pay with a credit card and they're like, oh, you got the promotion, you got the deal of the day. So we can't use credit card on deal of the day. And you're like, really? So there's just sometimes these little things, you know, that they might try to get you on, but it's nothing bad. Just sometimes it's a little annoyances. That's why it's kind of little annoyances. We'll also go with the taxis, and also you might get frustrated because the taxis don't have to pick you up, okay? So you may want to get that taxi. It may say it's free. They don't have to get you. You may go to a taxi stand. I don't like where you're going. I don't like you. They don't necessarily have to take you. And that's happened to us a few times here. They're like, No, you're not going far enough. No, I don't want to go to that part of town. No, I don't care. So that is kind of frustrating. So what I do recommend is if you have to get a ride, talk to your hotel and set up a car, a driver, a taxi to come pick you up, and use the radio taxis. The thing is, when you're on the street, if you have a choice, look for one that has their phone number on the top, or if they have like the new blue license plate on the taxi. Those are the ones you should kind of go to. They're a little bit, I guess, a little bit more reputable. But we hadn't had too many problems. But I'd say, in terms of experiences and stuff going on, I would say it was like 65-35. 65% of the time, everything was fine. 35% of the time, there was an issue, so do have a heads up for that. And that's why you'll understand why you don't tip the taxis when you are here. I know we actually had a good one when I was coming back from the Natural Sciences Museum with Liam, and the guy was so good, helped, a nice, friendly talk, and I only tipped him like 20 pesos, so it wasn't really that much. And he tries to give back to me, like, no, that's for you. He's like, why? I'm like, oh, propina, it's a tip. He's like, oh, okay, thanks, man. But it was just kind of funny because, you're not really expecting much, so that taxi situation might kind of get you, okay? Now, the fourth thing you're not going to like when you come here has to do with the streets. And one thing is the dog poop on the streets, and you'll see a lot of people walking like 10 dogs at one time, and those doggies have to go pee, and so they leave the stuff on the street. So do have a heads up with that. Also, do watch out for the sidewalks and stuff, because there is a lot of broken pavement and stuff, so a little uneven there. So just have a heads up. I've seen a few tourists do the broken ankle shuffle, so do have a heads up for that. But probably the thing you won't like the most about the street is actually crossing the street. It is dangerous to cross the street here. I used to live here, and I saw multiple people get hit by cars crossing the street. You got to be careful. Even if it says you have the walk sign and they have to stop, you still need to make sure you wait, look, make sure everything's okay, and then go, because it is one of those things you got to be careful with, because people drive like crazy here, and you'll see them accelerate to the stop. So just have a heads up for that. And then the fifth thing you might not like, which is actually something you probably won't like when you are here, are safety issues here in Buenos Aires, okay? Now, as nice as this city, as beautiful it is, whether you're going to San Telmo for the market, or here in Recoleta to see the stuff, or going to Palermo, there's safe parts of towns, there's less safe parts of towns, there's parts of towns you shouldn't go to. So definitely talk to your hotel people. Hey, is it okay for me to go here at 9 and things like that? Because you do need to be careful. Like La Boca, you want to go there during the day. It is cool to see, you get the painted houses and everything, but at night, you probably don't want to be around that part of town. You want to go someplace else. So do have a heads up. And anytime you're traveling after dark, I do recommend getting a taxi, okay, to go to the places. The taxis are very affordable here. If they rip you off, it's still not that big of a rip off. So you do have that, okay? But do be safe. Also, I will say, if you're staying in an Airbnb or a VRBO or whatever, you're renting a place, unless you're expecting someone, don't open the door for anybody, okay? Because there has been known, it's not as big now as it used to be, but there was, when I used to live here, when I came back a few years ago to brush up my Spanish, my family I was staying with in Barrio Norte were like, hey, look, don't open the door. Even if it's me, don't open the door for me, because I'll find a way to get a key, because there was people that would like rob people at their door. So do have a heads up for that. And then, of course, it's a big city, so have your usual safety precautions, don't wear your bling and stuff like that. You'll see that people here in Buenos Aires do dress up. They have some really good style here, okay? And they'll dress really well. And you, as a tourist, can dress better when you are here than I would say like a lot of, Brazil or someplace like that. But still, don't wear the diamond rings, the fancy jewelry and stuff like that, just to kind of keep you from making yourself a target. But overall, I've enjoyed my time here. I went to college here. I came back and studied Spanish again to brush up on. I'm here again with my family. I've really enjoyed my time here at Argentina, and I lived in Buenos Aires, so I really do love it. And I do hope you come here, because it is affordable. There's cool stuff to do. Partying. If you're young, you like to party kind of stuff, there's stuff for that. You want culture, they have that. There's all kinds of things for you to enjoy here. So I hope this helps you out. And the thing is, when you go out to eat at restaurants and cafes, you're going to be sitting down, you do tip about 10% on the bill. And the thing is, if you're going to be paying with credit cards, and you can pay with credit cards all over the place, it's not too big of an issue. But if you are going to be paying with credit cards, they do not have a spot to write the tip in, so you do need to have cash to leave a tip. So just know 10% at the restaurants and sit-down cafes is kind of like the going tipping rate. Of course, you don't have to tip, but it is kind of a nice thing to do when you are here. So some other tipping things you might want to think about is when you're going around. Now, when you take taxis, you don't need to tip the taxis when you are there. You might round up just for convenience of change and making change kind of purposes. So you don't do that. If you are taking buses around the country, which you will do because they're a lot cheaper than the flights, but they do take a long time, and you're going to be putting your bags underneath the bus, you do want to tip a couple pesos to the guy that's putting it underneath the bus and taking it out. That's one thing you would want to do. And if you're actually renting a car when you are here and you do park and somebody helps you park the car, you do need to tip that guy a couple pesos to make sure your car is still in the same shape when you come back. Now, there's no guarantee it won't get hurt, but when you do pay the guy, there's definitely a guarantee that has a less chance of getting marked up and stuff like that. So that's another thing you do need to probably tip on when you are here. Another thing is when you're staying at your hotels, make sure you leave a few pesos or $1 or $2 or even $5 for the cleaning staff of the hotel rooms. Just leave it on the bed when you go, and that'll help out because it does make a big difference for them. Also, it tends to get your room a bit cleaner too. Another thing is if you're going to be taking a guided tour, whether you're going to Iguazu and you want to go see the falls and have that explained to you, or going taking a city tour here, or maybe going to a wine tour, Mendoza, things like that, you're going to have guides, and you do tip your guides if they're good. That's the key thing. If they suck, don't worry about it. If you got guides that are decent or good, you want to tip between 10 and 20% of that purchase price of your tour, so you know what to give. But I wanted to show you the beginning of the falls. So you walk out here, it is well worth it. Make sure you get up to Garganta del Diablo, the throat of the devil, for a beautiful view. Yes, those falls are awesome. And when you come to Brazil or you come to Argentina, the Iguazu Falls are actually one of the best things to come visit when you do come to these countries. And the thing is, if you're trying to choose which side to come to, the Argentine side or the Brazilian side, you should know about 80% of the falls are on the Argentine side, about 20% is on the Brazilian side. So, but the thing is, if you want that really cool view of the panoramic view of all of the waterfalls, you get that view from the Brazil side. But if you really want to get up, and where all my videos are coming from today, that's actually the Argentine side, because you have the Garganta del Diablo, which is the walkway, the throat of the devil. You're walking up to and you really see it, and the mist is coming and all the water's pounding down, and it is really great. And the thing is, either side you go on do have hikes and stuff you can do. I will say this, there's more hiking and more stuff to see and do, and you'll need more time on the Argentine side than the Brazilian side. But if you can't do both, I would say do the Argentine side over the Brazilian side, just because there's a lot more things to do and see when you are there. Now, when you go, the thing is, if you want to do one of the boat tours or something like that, I would recommend booking it when you get there or have it booked before you get there, because they do sell out, especially at busy times of the year. And the busy times, you know, they're in school holidays and stuff like that. For example, here in Argentina, at mid-end of July is actually vacation time from the schools in the winter. So you have a lot of families that come here, so hotels book out and stuff like that. I know when we were there, the guy's like, hey man, come back in October. That's the best time to come because you get good water, good weather, and there's not a lot of other people around. I'm like, oh, thanks for telling me that now, okay? But I thought I'd let you know. Now, when you are there, some things you should know. I'm going to talk about the Argentine side, okay? When you go there and you're going to buy your ticket at the gate, you can pay with MasterCard or Visa. That's it in terms of credit cards, or you can pay in cash. The thing is, they have different prices if you're from Argentina, if you're from one of the Mercosur countries, or you're extranjero, a foreigner. And with the economic situation here in Argentina, prices do fluctuate a lot. So instead of giving me the pesos price, I say it was somewhere between $20 and $25 US dollars to actually go into the park. So you know that. The thing is, when you go into the park, you do need to have an ID, because if you can talk your way out of it, maybe you don't. But I'm going to tell you, bring an ID with you. I used my driver's license. That was okay. I had actually screen caps of my family's passports, and that was okay that time. But you do need to have ID when you go there, because they ask for it when you buy your tickets. I think it's more for to make sure if you're Argentine or Paraguayan or whatever, to see what price you should pay. So just have a heads up for that. I did find the people at the check-in were very nice, and where you got your tickets, it is kind of a long line to get there at busy times of the year, but the people were friendly, so that was totally fine. Now, when you go to the Argentine side, you're going to go in and you're going to take a train twice, okay? When you first get on the train, there's a train that goes every half hour up to the second station. So there's a central station, then you go up to one, and then you go up to another one. There's Cataratas, and then there's Garganta. And Cataratas, when you go there, that's where you get off to do some of the hikes, okay? You have the lower circuit, which takes you through the lower part of the falls. That one has a lot of steps, okay? That's the one they say, look, if you're not good and you don't like to hike and stuff like that, that's the one to avoid. If you take the higher circuit or the upper circuit, that's the one you also walk along the falls, but it's not as difficult to do, not as many steps and stuff like that. So you do have that. But the thing is when you get there, you want to take that train from the central station up to the second stop, right? Thing is, you get a ticket, and it's every half an hour. You don't have to wait in line, because it's kind of like, hey, everybody with ticket A6, you're going to board now. And everybody rushes on board, and it is a little tight sometimes on that train, because they get 4 people and 4 people, you know, in the seats, so you're kind of snug. And the thing is, when you get up to the next level, you can either go do the hikes, or you get in another line to get the ticket to La Garganta. the Garganta del Diablo. And I would say, if you're gonna do it, get there and then go to the Garganta first and then come back down and do the hikes. Because just in case you run out of time or the weather changes, which it does change a lot when you are here, you do get a chance to see the throat of the devil when you walk out on top of the falls, because that is awesome, okay? And so when you get your ticket, you wait in line, you take that up to the things. And those the trains that go up to the Garganta, the throat, they go every 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes, something like that. And so you'll get up there and you'll walk. It's about a kilometer walk to go from where the station is to actually where the waterfalls are, okay? So you're walking through that. And it is really cool when you get there, and you're gonna see animals and cotis. Like cotis are like kind of like raccoon kind of things. You're going to see them when you're going through. The thing is, don't feed the animals. They have tons and tons of things telling you not to feed the animals, because you'll see, they'll show pictures of people getting scratched and bitten and stuff like that. And with those cotis, they're everywhere. And the thing is, these animals are really, really cute. Like, oh, look at them. And you'll see 5 or 6 going across the road, going across the tracks, walking through the restaurant areas. The thing is just because they're cute and cuddly doesn't mean you touch them, because they will bite, they will scratch, and I don't think you want that. And so do be careful with them. You'll see them, they won't bother you. They'll climb their trees and stuff, but if you do bother them, they probably will bother you back. So don't feed them. They have tons of signs saying that. Now, some of the animals you actually see when they're there, aside from the quoti, you might see a tamir. You don't see that too often. There's also jaguars you might see there. You'll see turtles. You'll see lots of birds and fish and stuff. So it's kind of a cool nature hike when you go through these things. But again, don't feed the animals, all right? Now, when you're coming back down, you might not want to take the trains every single time. We just took the train back down from the Garganta to Cataratas. Again, you get the ticket, you wait for your time to go, and you go down. You can hike down it. Actually, we hiked down from the second station to the main station, so like the middle to the bottom. 700 meters, easy walk, no big deal, okay? But the thing is, when you're there, you might want to say, how much time do I need? Well, if you're going to be on the Brazil side, I mean, a half day, you'll be fine. If you're on the Argentine side, you're going to need the whole day. We left at 10 in the morning and we came back at 5. And we didn't get to do as much stuff as we wanted to. We didn't get to do the lower circuit. We just ran out of time. So if you want to make sure, if you want to hike, Garganta, you want to hike the lower circuit and the upper circuit, make sure you're leaving and you get there when it opens at 8 o'clock in the morning, okay? On the Argentine side, that's when the park opens. You get your ticket, you can head on out. Now the thing is, they stopped selling tickets at 4:30, okay? And I think the last train up to the Garganta is at 4, all right? And then the whole park closes around 6-ish or something like that. So make sure you're getting back before there. Now, if you want to get to the park, you can take taxis there, and there are taxis there that you can hire when you come back, or you might hire a remise or a private car from your hotel. They're relatively cheap. You can get them there and back and schedule time to go. But honestly, because of the trains and stuff like that, I mean, if you're going to be there for 5 hours, maybe an hour of it's going to be like train stuff. You're going to do trains all the time. So just have a heads up for that. So give yourself ample time when you're there. Now, when you are there, they do have, restaurants, and there are some like fast food kind of places and snack shops. They do have those. On the base, when you first come in, there's a cafeteria and a fast food place. There's a Freddo, the ice cream place that's popular here in Argentina. There's shops you can go buy stuff. So if you want to get a poncho, because the thing is, the rain changes, the weather changes so quickly here that you can have great sun and then it'll be pouring down rain in no time. I know last time I was here a few years ago, I mean, it was like 20 minutes of blazing sun and then 30 minutes of just downpour and then 20 minutes of beautiful sun. And so it switches back and forth. So have a poncho that you can put over yourself and your bag, because everything will get soaked. Now the thing is, if you're here when it's lower water season and not so much rain, you'll be fine. We were there yesterday, sun the entire time. We did not get wet except for the mist coming off the falls, which is really great. Now the thing is, when you're there, you obviously want to get the photos and the videos of the waterfalls. And at busy times, and even not at busy times, you will be fighting for position to see the cataratas, to see the waterfalls crashing down. Have patience, get in there, and don't be scared to like fight for your space, because other people are gonna be fighting it for that too. So do be careful. Also, I would say is if you have a neck strap, put that on your camera or on your wrist in case you drop it, because once it's gone, it's gone. Also, I would say with the photography stuff, sometimes you want to get your family pictures, I'd actually maybe come a little bit farther back up the walkway where there's a little more viewing areas. You don't get that big, huge cataratas waterfall feel, but the thing is you have more space there. So that's kind of one of those things. It just depends how many people are there at the time. When you are coming here, the thing is since this is at the border of Paraguay, Brazil, Argentina, right there, you can actually use multiple currencies in the park. So you can use the Argentine peso because that part of the park's in Argentina. You can use US dollars, no problem, and you can use reals. And actually at the shops, they'll give you a little sign saying what their exchange rate they'll give you for at that time. Again, like I said, they took credit cards, it was no big deal. Now, when you are coming here, you might want to look at where should I stay when I'm here. You have Porto Iguazu, okay, that's the Argentine city that's here. You have Foz de Iguazu, which is the Brazilian side, and then you have Ciudad del Este, which is in Paraguay. Look, if you're just coming here for Iguazu Falls, you don't need to go to Ciudad del Este. Ciudad del Este in Paraguay is basically one, to go shopping, okay, but not for like fancy shopping. It's like, oh, I want to buy 15 laptops, okay, and also to get a stamp in your passport for Paraguay. The thing is, you want to make sure you know if you need a visa for Paraguay or not, so that could be an issue. Now, when you're looking at coming here, Iguazu is not really close, all right? If you're going to fly, it's about a 2-hour flight to Buenos Aires, if you're going to go from Iguazu, the Porto Iguazu airport. If you're going to go from the Brazilian side on Foz, it's like, I don't know, hour and a half, a little bit less than 2 hours to fly to Sao Paulo, okay? So the two main hubs you're probably coming from. If you're going to take the bus, Jesus, I've done it before with the bus from Buenos Aires, and it's like 18 hours in a bus from Buenos Aires. So you might want to stop on the way somewhere, maybe go to Posadas or Corrientes or someplace on your way up here, just so you're not like on the bus forever, because it is a really, really long bus ride. Same thing from Sao Paulo. Maybe visit some other parts in that part of Brazil instead of just, you know, going one shot to Sao Paulo or Rio or something like that, or Belo Horizonte to see Minas Gerais, because it is really, really a long way to go. Now, like I said, when you want to get around town, there's taxis here, no problem. You can have your hotel book stuff, no big deal. Places to stay, there are tons and tons of hotels, posadas, you know, hostels that are here in Iguazu on both sides. What we've actually stayed at this time is we stayed at the Grand Hotel here. It's a casino and spa resort kind of stuff. The prices here are very fair, and they actually had a kids section here, so the kids got to play and do activities and stuff, so it was really nice. So you do have like a full gamut of options when you do come here to stay, so that is really cool. Because the first time I came here, I did the hostel. The second time I came here, I stayed in Posada. This time I'm here at a nicer hotel. It's like the rooms are equivalent of like a nice Holiday Inn or a Hampton Inn kind of stuff, and it is pretty nice when it's here. And of course, when you do come here, remember this is Argentina and Brazil, so eating, it starts later at night. You know, things don't get started quite as early in the morning, so just gives you a heads up for that. Also, don't forget, when you're going to go to the falls, you're going to get wet, and I said get the poncho stuff, but also this is probably a place where a lot of people kind of chill out for a while. There are plenty of lavanderias in town, so you can have your laundry done there cheap by some people, or the hotels to do them for you too, so you can have that. But that is one of the things you will notice, that stuff will get wet and it will stay wet, all right? So just have a heads up for that one. And of course, you might want to know what you're going to eat when you are here. What's cool is it's on the Brazil and Argentina border, so you get some of the best of both worlds. You have the pão de queijo from Brazil, you've got the amazing steaks from Argentina, you got the fruit from Brazil. I mean, there's all this great mixture here, and it is really cool. So you also have the great wine from Argentina that's up here, and the good beer as well that you can have. So it makes for a nice, like, relaxing place to go. So I hope you do come up here to Iguazu when you do visit Brazil or you do visit Argentina, because it is well worth it. It's, you know, it's near the top of my list of places to come in South America, because this is a great place to relax, but also see one of the world's most beautiful nature wonders out there. I mean, it's one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, and for very good reasons. So we're here at the Foz de Iguazu airport, actually on the Brazilian side, it's the Brazilian airport. And I guess some advice I would have for you when you're coming to Iguazu, or you're going to be using this kind of a base to like go to another part of South America, if you're going to be flying to other parts of South America, get the flights from Foz de Iguazu, the Brazilian side, because the flights are insanely more cheap when you're flying out with Gol and stuff like that, or Avianca, out of Foz de Iguazu to go into Brazil, okay? If you're going to be visiting Argentina and other things there, you're going to fly out of the Porto de Iguazu, the one in the Argentina side. The prices are significantly different. And if you're thinking, well, I'm just going to stay on the Argentina side and not worry about it and fly out, you're going to have a connector flight, and it's going to be significantly more expensive if you're going to be going to Brazil. So just kind of thinking about that when you are going to be flying out of here. The thing is, though, I know I told you about, if you're going to the parks, the Argentina side of the parks has got a lot more stuff to do, but on the Foz de Iguazu, the city side of things, there seems to be more stuff to do. They're kind of like making up for having less of the falls by having more stuff. So you have like, there's a wax museum you can go see, there's a water park, there's stuff like that you can do. So there is alternatives. So whatever side you stay on, you will be okay, you'll have a great time. But just know, if it comes to transportation flying out, make sure you're checking out where you're gonna be going to next, and then use that airport. Also, the border crossing, when you come through, it's pretty straightforward. just know that sometimes if you go in the early morning, you might not have any line. I know from the center of Port de Iguazu to the airport at Falls de Iguazu, it took about an hour and 20 minutes with the border crossings. There was nobody in the line for us. Like, we got out, we got our stuff stamped and stuff like that, no problem. And then we went through, went to the Brazilian side and did that. But there's different border crossings, so you want to check that out to see which one it's going to take. So if you do have a flight here, give yourself some time, plenty of time in case there is a long bus line. Because I know with the buses, I saw like the travel buses, there's like 15 buses lined up going into Argentina. So if you're going the other way, just have a heads up for that, to give yourself that time. You might be like us, like we got here way early to the airport, but better way early than 1 minute late, because the airlines aren't waiting for you, okay?